butt or both lines on the side?
Both legs are on top.
I usually put the outside line behind the butt, so they get used to things bopping and flopping on their hind legs, but I don't want to scare him.
Whatever's breaching on.
Yeah, I put my outside line around the butt so I have control of the rear end and can make him come haunches in for canter and that kind of thing. Pardon?
You put it through the loop on the
Yeah, I run it through the turret. Well, actually, if I'm not going to hitch, I run it through the tugs instead of the turrets. And then my outside line goes around behind his butt. Hold up. But I think it's really good desensitization to have it flapping on their butt.
Well, and before, I had him down there, I moved him up here because he would see it.
Oh, yeah,
So I was like, well, he's gonna have to get used to seeing things behind him,
absolutely.
which he doesn't seem to be appalled by.
No, he's not boogery about his butt anymore.
Well, or by seeing things like behind him, or, out of the corner
Yeah.
of his eye. Kind of seemed like he was always a little bit on guard, ready to run away from stuff.
Yeah, that was his thing.
So every time he would see the rain flop a little bit beside him, he would.
He was a wicked flight merchant.
So I was like, well, I guess we're just gonna do it until he doesn't care.
Then if it's down around his butt, he can't really get away. That's why these are made with that. There, good boy. Oh, that worries him.
Yeah.
But that's why these are built with the snap. So once you trust the horse, you snap them together, and then you can just work around on the line. But this also encourages, as he's already doing, hind legs to engage and head to go down.
Yeah,
Oh.
these are the regs that Jenny fixed the snap on.
I just snap it shut, and then I can,
I do normally, but not with
yeah,
her.
and then I stand outside of them.
If you
Good boy.
I don't know, I like to have two separate ones.
I like that arrangement because it keeps connecting to his little butt and encouraging just to deal with things sneaking up behind him. And if I have ones I'm trying to fix bad canter departs or bad canter leads, I can take the outside rein and bring the butt in to get it engaged to canter, like race horses that come with one lead. And it also, it has the effect of the Tellington Jones hug, where they tie a ace bandage from one side to the other around it and make it feel confined and comfortable. It has him in a box that's supporting him, so he knows where you are all the way around his anatomy.
There you go.
He says, well, I can be comfortable with that. And then if they're really dumb about not bending, I make the inside one a draw line, come in through the ring of the bit and snap to the tug. Like my redhead. It says, I can't bend. Well, guess what you can? You better. The reason he can't bend is because he's got to watch everything. It's hard to be nosy and bend.
I don't think it's that he can't bend, I think he doesn't know how.
I think in this arrangement,
He does not know how to put his body in that form.
I think it's really supportive for him.
Yeah.
Because he can find either of your hands by leaning either way. He knows where you are. He's probably not going to get away from you. At least I've had better luck with the ones. Although we did it, Keith. Keith Angstad?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had one that people sent for long lining, and between us we couldn't teach the damn thing to long line. He'd run off with both of us.
Yeah, I think,
Even with him and me. He had one rein, I had the other, and we couldn't stop him.
oh gosh.
We said, this horse is going to get it. And the worst thing is, the kid that owned it was a very bright, overweight, totally unathletic girl that needed to be able to ride this damn thing safely. And we couldn't even long line it. It's kind of like, well, that's a loser.
Well, he seems a little bit happier than he was yesterday.
Yeah, he seems very,
wasn't
very
bad
content
yesterday,
today.
but he was definitely on edge. But he
And
got it together.
yesterday, when he came in, I forgot, there was something in the ring that bothered him today. He didn't mind Don on the pony and the rails at all today.
No, but there was a crack in the door in the wind yesterday.
Yeah, well, it kept howling.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been in the arena.
When the building's going,
When the building's
ooh,
Yeah,
It sounded like a haunted house.
Things banging on the roof,
It
going to
did.
sleep and stuff, so.
Sounded like it was Halloween.
He wasn't very
Good boy.
He was scared.
It's good for him though to get
Oh.
exposed.
Well, and she's such a good driver, and she was able to hold him, you know.
He's still a little suspicious of the wall that it's gonna howl again,
And,
but not a lot.
Yesterday.
in the mirrors a little bit.
Oh,
He has to look at him,
mhm.
you know, and he has to put his head up.
Yeah.
Look at him. He doesn't know that his eye.
And it doesn't bother him when he swings around and the other side of his butt gets caught. He goes, yeah, I hear you.
Hmm.
Which is very good desensitizing for him. And it always keeps the hind end tracking up.
Yeah, he just forgot to take a foot with him.
I'm not sure if he saw something or heard something.
I think
No,
he saw
he glanced over at the mirror and then his right front.
And then he forgot he was
His back legs were still walking, but his left front
He
stopped.
forgot he was a quadruped.
he saw another
He
horse.
said, feet don't fail me now. Like Bambi found a piece of white paper in the ditch over there.
Yeah, I see it.
And she was like, oh, my ears and whiskers.
Yeah, like
About-
a gum wrapper over there.
Yeah,
or something.
about stopped her dead.
And look at
And
that, she's like,
she
"Oh
didn't
my
mean
God."
anything bad, but she went, ha! Gonna get me. But that's how attuned they are to defending themselves from anything new. You know, Bambi's been around a long time. She's not afraid of much except something like that. Good boy.
Well, like I said, 'cause she was hungry, she couldn't concentrate very well.
Yeah. Actually, she was a good girl. I didn't realize she'd had her green. I wouldn't feel too badly for her then. Except her hay probably doesn't last all night, so then she's hungry.
Oh, gosh, it lasts about half an hour.
Mine still have hay when morning comes, so I don't feel too bad for them.
No.
They stop nibbling to eat their grain.
They were just starting to feed them, so I gave her her grain and then.
Yeah, he seems pretty easy about today.
Yeah, he's happy.
That's what we want him to be.
Don't eat scraps off the floor.
He's very good about turning. You tweak a rein, he turns. He doesn't give you that I don't know how. Good boy. Good boy.
He keeps trying to pick up little pieces of straw.
Ah.
There's a morsel.
And when he gets stretched like that, his front end doesn't look so much bigger than his back end. When he's scrunched, it looks like two different pieces.
Yeah, he's kind of almost a whole different shape than he used to be.
He's a very different shape. Because he used to be upside down C. He was hollow. His weight is lovely.
His what is lovely?
He looks really healthy. His weight is good.
Dina did his name.
His weight is really good. His wither almost sticks up higher than his saddle.
I think it does stick up higher than his
Yeah,
saddle.
it's kind of a funny sight.
Actually, it is almost an inch taller than the black part of his saddle.
Yeah.
Like you can watch it along the boards.
You can see all the way through the saddle. It gives him good spine clearance.
Well, and you know, like where the saddle is about 2 inches behind those white spots.
Yeah, somebody's hurt
I
him.
don't know why they even have the saddle up there.
The white spot looks like it's where the turret screws down into the saddle and goes down too far and makes holes in them.
But they must have had it like up on his withers.
Smucker used to leave the turrets too long, and they'd hurt the backs. We'd take them out, cut off a quarter of an inch, or they'd hurt the back till there wasn't enough padding under them.
You mean you're supposed to use?
And for that, you get to pay $900 for the harness.
No, I think, yeah, right.
We whined, and they stopped
Robin
doing it.
didn't hear me.
Hmm?
Okay. You mean you're supposed to use a pad?
You don't have to, but it helps.
Especially if,
This is very nice because it's a gel pad, so it really
You
absorbs
mean you're
everything.
not supposed to jam that thing right up on his withers?
No.
Yeah, see, look, the white spots
I have a
in
horse.
front of the
My horse,
pad.
has outgrown 3 saddles by back development. Now he has one that was made in Canada. It's a big arc that can never touch him. And it comes way down on his side before it connects. And he loves it because he can bring his back up and stretch it. It doesn't hurt him. No, they're not supposed to sit on their withers.
Yeah, that girl does not like you.
Just think about, I mean, look how bony that wither is. He'd be a tough one to fit a saddle to. But he's not meant to be.
Nobody's gonna have her work cut out for her, is
He's a harness horse. He's not meant to be a riding horse, but he could be.
You'd almost have to put a cut back English
He,
saddle
like,
on.
yeah, like a,
Passier or a.
Passier has the right, or a Kiefer. Either of those would have the right head. But if you think about where his saddle is, which is sort of the end of his wither, it's a very short ways to his back, to his hips. It's a very, very short back. So it could get tight if you didn't do him right. This is nice because it makes work really simple for him. That's how we keep Jada fit. We leave her walking around in circles. It's a little reminder on the right rein. There. Good. He was ready for one more tug, and his head came down even more. Good boy. There we go. So, you know, when you think it looks pretty good, but you'd like a little more, don't be shy about asking again. Because he was like, oh, I can do that. Yeah, good boy. Because that's an aid you can carry through to the saddle, to the carriage. Good boy, good boy. Look at the overtrack on him. He's a pretty cool machine. Do you know what his breeding is? I mean, it's Dutch, obviously.
Three-quarter Dutch and 1/4 Hackney horse.
But what was his sire?
It goes, it does go back to Mano, I think.
This is good.
On the bottom side.
Going back to Mono's good. I like Mono. I like the Nandos, but they're a little hotter. But they're very able. But the Monos are really nice. Wilson's is a Mono grandson from the sire.
Hackney horse.
They love to do that. They love to stick, and I like to stick saddlebred in with them too. The Wilson's is quarter saddlebred. That's a good boy. Very nice. Just keep reminding him with your right arm. Yeah, that's a good boy. It really makes a difference. Just adjust his position anytime it isn't quite what you want. And there he goes. Good lad. Look how well the hind legs engage. And then he kind of likes that position. I think they've all got a little case of end of season hay. Mine do. Even in Florida, we had end of season hay. If he comes up and gets squirrely, just take the inside rein. There you go. Didn't take mine, ask again. There. So you don't have to do a lot, but just quietly correct whenever he gets a booger up his brain. You know, his thing when he's worried is to look left, so we just correct to the right and say, you don't got to worry, big buck. Good boy. Very nice. Yeah, he was a little whiny at the end of yesterday about the bigger carriage, but he's not whiny at all about working today. He's really good.
I just didn't want to make him sore.
No, I think it's good to do something different with him, because this is the 4th day. You know, come on, lad. That's a good boy. You know, and I don't know if he.
A lot of like his work, you know, most of the time I've actually been working him just on the
I don't know if he comes up because he hears something or just because he thinks it's convenient, but you just remind him to go back down. Good boy. Very nice.
So the sire is Visa by Fabricus by Renovo. Oops. And then the dam is the Hackney is a horse called GTF Aristocat,
Mm-hmm. He's been seen before in this breed.
who's by Suddy Marksman. Whatever. Anyway, Mano's on the dam side.
Mono's on the mother.
Yeah. So,
I think they get their temperaments from their mothers anyway. So That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Nifty's, Hamilton's is mono, my husband's is mono. The chestnut horse that Sterling Graybird drove so successfully, Yolanda, that was a mono.
So his mother's mother is by mono.
Yeah,
So,
he basically has a lovely temperament. Good boy. See the stride change every time he reaches? It gets bigger and better.
And I don't have to walk past.
And a lot of freedom, and he's not scaring himself by going freer. He's like, I can go big. It doesn't bother me. My line's not eating my butt. I can dance. You want him to know that he can dance, that it's okay and it's fun.
I think the shoeing change has really balanced him.
Yes.
You can tell just
You mean
like,
because his feet aren't all 4 different sizes, shapes?
but I mean, see, he's just setting them. It's an even beat.
Well, and he puts them down like he means it.
Yeah.
Pop, pop,
So I
pop,
don't
pop.
think he hurts.
No. Yesterday we did some slow trot 2 days ago because I wanted to start it because he was reaching so much he was getting a little on the forehand. And yesterday he was just a little bit tired from it being a third day.
Yeah.
But that's legitimate. He's a baby.
Need to drive for a whole hour, 45
And he didn't have a great start. And I'm being polite. Ah, it's a good lad. Plus he's got to grow into that great big body. Good boy.
And Dan's doing it now. right?
Josh,
Oh, Josh, good.
which is basically Dan. 'Cause
Right, no, I know, yeah, Josh trims like Kramer, and he's
Yeah.
done a really good job with Kramer. Kramer has
yeah,
cushions.
he has a good eye.
And he seems pretty gentle too with the
Yeah.
horses.
I like this horse. I've always liked this horse. Good boy. That looks pretty jolly.
He's learned he can put his head down. That's
He's-
the
He's figured out he can put his head down and
Feel
trot
safe.
Yeah.
and keep his balance and keep his rhythm. And now that he's discovered it, he wants to use it all the time, which is why we were doing the slow trot, because I want him to understand you can't always put your head on the ground. And he's strong enough now. Was he 5 this year?
5.
Yeah, he's just a baby. He's such a big frame.
So when he went to Kip, who's the riding trainer, I asked him intentionally to, when he was trotting, to let him drop his head. And that's something they don't typically do, you know, they're always
You gotta
within.
carry it.
Yeah, but he listened
But he needed to
me.
learn to do it, because it's interesting, yesterday the wind was scaring him, and he'd start to go, uh-oh, and then go, I'll just put my head down, I'll go away.
Yeah.
He's
That's
teaching
a good
himself to
habit.
release from it.
Yeah.
Good boy.
So yeah, Kip, that's one thing that Kip was able to get
You think
him.
Well,
drive
what-
him for a little bit?
Pardon?
You think drive him for a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. Because he's beautifully warmed up now. He's comfortable, he's happy. And whoever did the riding work, I think, did a wonderful job with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's,
No, he'll ruin it.
He's got a very nice ho-hum attitude about it. Oh, love,
He stepped
you
on
can
it.
have strings dragging up your ass.
He stepped on it.
Oh, he stepped on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's life.
That's why I did that.
That's life.
Look, he slept in some poop last night. His face is brown. He's got one brown one.
Was that a Yanni harness?
It's a comfy fit, isn't
It's a
it?
particularly nice saddle for him. It's very much like the one ooh,
Oh, it's okay, babe.
he says I'm receiving.
Yeah, see, isn't it weird that those white spots are way,
They're back, they're not where your equipment would go.
They're way up, yeah, I can see one.
Yeah. Unless they had a breastplate on it holding the saddle forward. Because his wither's so long his saddle wants to go back.
That's exactly what happened.
Oh, but
On my way home, I'm going to my car wash because it's totally. Yes, yes. Yes. Oh, I know.
you gotta go get your breastband, don't you?
oh, I have it. It's at Robin's feet.
it might be mine. I don't know. I haven't had any tea this morning, so I don't know who it is.
Huh?
What'd you say, my tea?
No, I said it's at your feet.
My
Breast collar.
sheet?
Breast
She
collar.
said I need to go get the breast collar.
Oh.
And I don't know why I hooked that up again. And I said it's at her feet.
No, I don't know whose that is.
That?
What?
Mine.
This is your breast collar.
Yeah. She said I need to go get the breast
Oh, no, you
collar.
said it's at my feet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a sheet. I
Oh,
thought
no.
like blankie, not a sheet. Yeah, I'm guarding it. That fits very much like Indy's saddle. What else? Good boy.
His new saddle?
Yeah. His new one from the Canadian guy made.
This is the one that she actually had for her pony.
Hey, big boy.
Breaching in the dirt.
Hi. Okay.
Oh, no.
I still like those long lines.
I
It's
know.
such, it's such a nice set.
I
My-
use them a lot.
Yeah, that's what that's what I use all the time for those hubs. My go-to ones. We each have a set, so nobody can steal the other guys. And we had a guy who used to work with us who was colorblind, so he had hot pink ones. And then nobody stole his. I said, they're kind of girly. He said, that's all right, I can find them. We were at Fair Hill one time, and I said, isn't that nice? They put X on the ground in orange paint. He said, maybe you can see that, but he said, it looks all the same color to me. It was day-glow orange and green grass, and he couldn't see it.
That's
He
what
said, I
Rick-
can't see that X.
Rick Norland has problems like that
Yeah.
because he's
It's like, oh
colorblind.
man, you guys live in a strange world.
think he's
Do you
red.
want your rain through your collar turret or not?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are red-green colorblind,
Yeah.
and that would be close.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
the
funny.
day-glow,
Such a
day-glow orange is more red than orange, really.
Oh, I see.
And, yeah, and he can't, he said, because he had a really handsome Brooks Brothers, long sleeve polo shirt. It was vertical stripes. He thought it was brown. It was burgundy, gold,
And
army
he thought it was
khaki,
just a
and
brown
navy.
shirt.
Wow.
You thought it was solid.
Yeah, and the intensity of the colors were the same, even though there were three, I mean, it was a really handsome shirt. And he thought it was brown.
It's funny.
I said, that's a fabulous shirt. I love those colors together. He said, it's a brown. What are you talking about? No, and it was a white stripe, burgundy, gold, khaki green, and navy, and it was really complement to each color for the other. He didn't know the difference. And then I had a polo shirt that was another really good quality one that was navy and red stripes, and I got a picture from a photographer of a function I was riding in, and the colors were so matched in intensity that the shirt was solid colored in the picture.
Really?
And I didn't own a solid colored shirt. I knew what I wore that day. It was a navy and red one,
Interesting.
but it didn't show it as color at all.
Kinda have to. You know,
Jada, I don't think I've ever seen you wear this many clothes.
Me?
I've never seen you in a winter coat.
Too, that's good.
All the times I've seen you.
Yeah. Well, I gave up. I was cold yesterday.
It was like 80 degrees here
A couple
a
days
week
ago.
or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, I mean, I
But
almost put
wasn't
the
it like
air
in
on.
the same week I started out, like I went to work on Monday and it wasn't last week, maybe the week before, I didn't wear a coat. Tuesday I put on my summer coat or my light jacket. Wednesday I had to go to my fall coat, and by Thursday I was in my winter parka.
Yep.
I was like.
And they wonder why we get confused,
Right.
or why the horses act a little odd.
Right?
Or, you know, they shed like mad and then they quit, because all of a sudden it's winter, like today. They're all cold
I have a feeling
today.
that's why a lot of ours are not shed out.
Yeah, like
Start
dye.
shedding, then they go, oh, never mind.
Right.
Dye.
Well, Morgan showed up in Des Moines yesterday, having gone from Albany to Philadelphia, in shorts and a filmy little short-sleeved
So did
shirt.
Diane have to go buy her?
It
a
was
new
not warm in Albany or Philadelphia. But Diane had to go shopping.
I was
'cause
gonna
there's-
say, part of that is she's a college.
Yeah, I think she has a program.
She's a
But
20-year-old.
they had to go shopping because they went to this family birthday party, and her suitcase arrived this morning.
Oh,
I don't bet it had a lot of long johns in it, but she had on shorts and a blouse she'd only wear in August to go to airports, because they always turn the air conditioning on.
Geez, that's
I don't know what she was thinking, because she came from two really cold places, and they were having horrendous storms in Philadelphia, which is why she didn't get out that night.
Well, it's almost like Falcon's had a come to Jesus talk or something.
Yes.
He's not
We've
the
had a
same
couple.
horse.
Well, he's also, I
But
think,
it wasn't
judging by
really
his
like,
breeding,
you never have to get after him, you know, basically you just have to be like, I'll be here when you come down.
Yeah, yeah.
but you know,
Let
with
me know when you're ready.
that mono line in his breeding, he should have a heavenly temperament. He just had a hellish start,
He did.
I think he does have a heavenly
because he truly is a kind, lovely horse.
He
Do
is,
you want
he's
a whip,
very
Jada?
sweet.
And
Yeah,
Dutch
it's in
horses
my
are all scutchy.
green card probably.
They are suspicious and they're squirrely. And you have to learn, you have to get through that with them.
Before you take off.
Then they grow up and they're fine.
Yeah, he,
Covers up on
Even
the-
Wilson's horse has a lovely temperament, but he can have Dutch moments.
Thank you,
He
man.
goes, oh my God.
this guy had such an extreme.
Well, this guy had a bad start. And never a kind man for him. He's so cooperative.
He didn't trust anybody.
You
Jada's
blame
been
him?
working on that. No, I'm kidding.
Blame him?
I was there, trust me. I know.
It's lovely that he can come back.
Yes.
But that's because he's a good horse.
Mhm.
You're a good man, Falcon.
What a
It
good
used to be, as soon
boy.
as you touched the reins, his head was up here and his
And his
legs
ears
were
are
over
always asking a question. Am I okay? Are you okay? Am I okay? Are you okay? But he's so good about it.
Wait, he got his foot cocked. Very
It's a good,
relaxed.
good sign, isn't it?
Yes, oh
Mhm.
yeah.
He seems a lot more just comfortable with life.
He's just, well, and he, you know what? Now he can stop and ask and think instead of just reacting.
Mhm.
And he stands there and his ears are working. He's checking, is everything okay? But he's standing, just waiting. Good boy.
All right.
He really is a kind, lovely horse.
Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
real
have.
sweet.
I have a lot of faith in Kip.
I saw pictures on Facebook of him competing. And I thought, oh my God, you poor thing.
I mean, I've taken 3 horses to him, and all 3 have had a, good result. And that's,
Yeah, that's a good foundation.
And this one's gonna get surprised now and again, just because the Dutchies are a little bit suspicious. But he goes, oop, and then he's fine.
Yeah.
It's no 4-hour panic.
And Jada
I
does
told
it.
Robin I was
She
gonna
knows
send
how
my
to do it.
horse to go get a good stop on him.
Well, it's the,
Yeah, I have some I would send to him happily. I got one at home right now I'd like to send to him. What a nasty little prick he
Jada's really
is.
good with trust, so he's doing well with her. And I'm sure Kip, that's where he worked.
But this is
most
a
of the
darling,
time,
kind
is
horse. He
trust.
doesn't need
Uh-huh.
bad experiences.
I think he just shut down with Reno.
and the thing that Kip did was say he didn't work him for longer than 2 days. Sometimes he had to go off for clinics, and he'd be, of course, he was out all the time too.
Mhm.
But if it was anything 3 days or over, he'd start right back on the groundwork, just back up all the way,
That's
and then
okay,
before he
as long as it's
saddled
not
him.
rough on him. But at
Yeah.
least then you review.
Yeah,
And it doesn't hurt to keep reviewing.
yeah.
Because, the way we train them is by flooding them with things that work, so they get over thinking it won't work.
So I think maybe the head fussiness is just because it's.
I just think it's getting the big load started. Because at long line, he wasn't fussing at all.
No, I think it's just he's like, oh, wait.
It takes a minute to remember,
Probably
because,
good
they weren't born knowing how to pull.
Yeah.
They have to, and he's got to get all of that long, muscly, stringy youngster over those withers. So he's got to do this to loosen up enough to get over his withers. And then he's like, oh man, that worked. But every day he has to remind himself. That's why it's important that he got his head down as early as he did. He has a lovely big hip, but he can't engage unless he gets the other end down where it belongs. Yeah, good boy. You know how to do it. You just,
too, if a little bit, like he has to think about how to operate his body when pulling stuff.
I think he does have to
His
think.
tail moves and his mouth moves
That's a
when he
big body
thinks.
for a baby brain to operate. And that big wither is a lot of equipment to get past. He's just a goofy little kid. Unfortunately, he doesn't look like a goofy little kid. The trouble with these damn things, they get big and beautiful early, but they're still just goofy kids. That's a good lad. He knows he wants to do it, but he's got to figure out what to do with all these damn parts. He's one that I think will eventually go very well on a neck collar.
Yeah.
He's got a big shoulder.
See, his front end wither and neck are put in kind of like Dudley's.
Yep, exactly. And I don't have one of these collars but I see lots of students with them, and they really rock around on their front end. It's like they yank on them. And his neck is set up so he could wear a regular collar, a neck collar, because it's a long shoulder, but it's a little bit vertical. And then I think that encourages to push into it. Trouble with neck collars is you and I don't have enough extras around to find the one that fits.
Right.
Because that's a long shoulder. Your big neck collar. Like Josie was saying her horse would wear a 21-inch collar, but he's got a lot of shoulder.
21-inch collar.
She said he'd wear 21, and I looked at it and thought, TJ wears a 21-inch collar.
I think actually Hank had a 20-inch collar, but Hank and Dudley are not. Hank's a 13.5.
No, I think Dudley would need a bigger collar than that. Indy wears a 22 with that pretty slim neck.
Hey.
There it comes to your hand. Good boy. Says, I'm very cool. I have to always remind him life is easy. He found out that it wasn't, but now he's thinking it is. Actually, I'm amazed that pile of rails in the corner doesn't catch somebody's eye. It keeps changing. Because we use them and then they go back there in different order. Somebody once told me horses don't see color like that. I ran a pony club in New Hampshire, and I left the kids with a bunch of buckets of paint and said paint rails. And they made wider stripes than that. And there were two that were like daffodil yellow. Guaranteed those were the ones the pony stopped at. Guaranteed. They didn't care any other color. But those damn daffodil yellow ones, I said, so I do think they do see color. Or hue or something. The stripes were all matched. They did a beautiful job. They'd measured everything. But the ones with the wide daffodil stripes, they were like, boogers.
I thought they had the blue and yellow cones, horses.
I don't know if they could tell yellow from red in cones. But these ones all could tell the yellow jump. I've not ever had one tell me there was a difference. Because what we school on in the winter is half red, half yellow.
Yeah.
And of course now you have the skinny cones with the sleeve on it. They don't seem to notice that either. An orange cone with a navy blue, they make a skin that goes right over it. So where everything's orange, and then there's a pair of navy blue ones because they're 5 centimeters narrower. They never seem to notice the skinny cones. I don't always notice them either. And I go, wonder why that one was so narrow. Oh yeah, it's a skinny. Like right there, when he's kind of going, just take the left rein and get a little weight on. Yeah, just encourage him back down. Because sometimes I think he doesn't know how he got up there. That's a good boy. And you've taught him, good. You've taught him from the long line, when you just take the inside rein and take it a bit, let go, so help him with it. Yeah. Be persistent. Good boy, and soften. Ask again, good soften. Yeah. So he needs you to be like your horse. He needs you to be there for him. Good boy. Oh, he says, you fix. See, every time you do that, you solved his problem. So you fixed it.
Yeah.
So that makes you good. And you don't.
Actually, I didn't really do anything. You fixed it.
Yeah, you make yourself a supple weight on his mouth, and he's like, oh, wow, that works.
You don't have
And then
to
he
turn.
thinks you saved the day. The idea is to make him think you're a goddess, and that you're going to make his day good. A nice shoe job on him. You watch him put his feet down, they go plop, 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 plop. There's no rock and roll. Yeah, I think miles per hour for him are easy, but to get it all going in one direction, not so easy. That's a good boy. But you want to show him that you're the one that can save him from whatever his confusion is. Good lad. Did you buy him as a wee baby? I can't remember.
No,
No. Usually they come for sale as 2-year-olds.
he was 3 coming 4.
They hang out in their Amish pastures doing nothing. Then they turn 2 and they get them broke just enough to go to the auction and look like they can drive. And then they go.
I was telling Jada, the breeder sold them to a couple of Amish boys. I think the breeder's in Indiana and the Amish.
Aren't they all?
Yeah, the Amish boys were down in Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
And they're the ones that brought them to the sale, to the Shipshawana.
Yeah. I
That's
think
where I
all the
sourced.
breeders are in Indiana.
A lot of them
And of course,
are,
the registry book was in Indiana last I knew.
yeah. And,
That Elton horse, the Nando one that my pal Jordan drives, I apparently have the only copy of his papers, and I hadn't sent it to him for some reason. So he got it he went to the registry and gave him all the information on the papers. And they came back, and they swear they're right, that he's just turned 6. Well, no, he just turned 10. That matches his teeth, and he was 6 when we got him. So I'm not sure what that registry's up to. And he's very distinctly marked. He's by Victor, which is hot as Hades and a lot of Hackney. And then on his mother's side has the Nando, which is very nice. But they can't, and he has a head that won't quit. And you can't be too like that. They say, oh yeah, he's a 6-year-old. He's already going intermediate. He's probably not a 6-year-old. So I don't know how that confusion came about. 'Cause I have, the only copy I got from Casey was a photocopy of his papers. Casey couldn't keep track of who was who. Good boy. There he is. He loves the stretch. He just forgets once in a while where he left it. Time walking is never time wasted. You just build and build and build. You know, he could go to doing ground poles on the long lines.
Yeah.
And that would build, because that builds the thing he has trouble with, which is the reach over the back and withers.
Yep.
It's done a lot of good, because Indy's sort of the same thing. He had no withers, no withers, no withers. He turned 10 and this huge wither popped up out of nowhere.
Like Huron.
Yep. And it made his neck set funny, everything. And the ground poles really, really, really help him. It helps him pull over the wither. That's a lot of wither to stretch yourself over. And every time he stretches the neck, the rear end gets stronger, takes a better step. And if it's at my house, I wouldn't use this carriage every day. I'd have a light carriage for him too, a road cart. Like that big red thing Wilson rides around in Florida. He'd spend a lot of time in that, just to make sure he didn't get discouraged pulling. Good boy. He's figuring out that's the easier way to do it. Then he goes, I don't know. Oh yeah, I'll try it again. Good boy. And since you taught him on the line to do that, you can use it for him. Good lad. He's going to be elegant. He's going to be so elegant. I'm not sure a lot of Hackney does anybody any good. We didn't have enough to matter. Good fellow. That's pretty nice. Does he want to see Langton walk? There it goes. The step's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Not hurrying, just a bigger step and a bigger step. Every time he stretches, the step gets bigger. If you guys want to see Langton, I'll show it to you. The 2 best training aids are boredom and fatigue. Makes everybody easy about life.
But you know what? Boredom and fatigue also works on children.
Well, he doesn't have the kind of deceitful mind that's going to come up with ways to entertain himself if he gets bored. He just goes nicely. I don't think he gets bored. He's too busy reviewing in my safe. Good boy, that was lovely. Very nice answer. Yeah, well, let me try again. I assume he gets lots of vitamin E.
Yep.
Good. He looks like he does, because his muscle and coat are beautiful.
He gets vitamin E and Outlast
Uh-huh.
and Proad, which is just like.
No, his muscles look like good vitamin E muscles.
And protein. And flax.
Yeah, so he's getting all the right things to build a big, strong, happy horse.
Yeah, even his coat, his hair and everything after.
You know, he's a hard color to get a pretty coat on. He has a nice coat. It's
But
shiny.
his coat was not
I'm
great
sure it was
before.
moose hair.
Yeah, it looks pretty good now.
Looks very good now. And that's a winter coat, and at the end of the season, they don't look so good. His looks fine.
Yeah, Deb was
Are you
afraid
in
that he
search
might
of
grow out
something?
of this part, and I don't think that's a problem.
halter I had disappeared.
With the,
The leather,
I have
brown.
I've not seen a leather halter. I've seen assorted
Check on,
colored nylon things, but not a leather one.
check on different, hooks out there, cause sometimes they just grab halters and put them on different horses.
oh, yeah.
Are you looking for that halter still?
Yes. He hasn't found it yet.
Well, he was outside.
I have to admit, my husband does that with our
I
own
will do
horses.
that.
He said, why is this nice leather halter outside? We better put it in the
Wilson's
barn."
horse and mine live together, and they've always got each other's halters on. He grabs the first one on the post.
Yeah, and then I was really all, I couldn't find, sometimes the rope halters,
Yeah.
they go inside out,
Yes, I know.
and that's not good.
It's a hassle.
Yeah, good boy.
And so
It's a hassle for me too, and I've been doing it for years, so.
It's really weird, I tell you.
It's really not
I'm
fun
the
to do with
headless
gloves
horse.
on.
It's even worse, yes.
You seven heads and
You
four
like to
hands.
take a scissor and cut it afterward.
Okay, I'll look down the alley.
Yeah, maybe it's
A
outside.
halter is not just a halter. A halter is special if you have the right one.
Yeah.
What you doing, bud? There we go. He's gotten floatier going just in the last 3 days. Way floatier.
Do you think this carriage is still size appropriate for him?
I think
It's almost
it's,
borderline.
he's beginning to be tall in front of it. But I don't want him to carry any more weight yet,
Yes, the weight.
particularly if it's the only carriage he has.
That's the problem, the next size up, they're too heavy.
Yes. And I think, well, you can see out of there fine. You can see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks a
It's just
tiny,
when his head goes down,
it
I
looks a
don't know
tiny
how
bit,
much
yeah,
in front of
it
him.
looks a tiny bit to me small on him, but I don't want him to pull the next size up.
'Cause he's
And
he's
she can
not-
see out fine. And we don't want to discourage motion, so unless he had a light two-wheel to go in, I think this is what he should have. He's getting so much floatier. Getting a whole new idea about how to operate his body. And he seems happy to do it. Once in a while his tail flicks, but mostly it just follows along behind him. And he's carrying it up. Remember he used to carry his tail tucked? Now he carries it up and it waves.
more
So you can tell the
relaxed.
back is happy, he's happy. Because he used to go like, I'm tucking my tail down, something's gonna get me. Now it boings and bounces.
I think, there's a combination things going on. The feet are balanced.
Yep,
We've got the gel pad under the
the
saddle.
gel pad's a very good idea.
The noseband is not cranked tight enough
No,
to put it
and
in
it's, well,
his
it's a
mouth.
very, it is a crank
Nose.
noseband so you can tighten it, but it's very wide
Right,
too.
right.
And I have a new saddle that fits like this, and I love the gel pad under it. Because somebody obviously hurt his back.
And we know who.
I think we can pretty much guess who. Whether it happened or on purpose or whether the dim light didn't notice.
Yeah,
In either
yeah.
case, it's his fault.
So I just think all those things
Everything you fix like that makes a better, happier horse.
I just think he's,
And if, you know, if they're not going happily, our job is to figure out what's eating them. I think the shoes make him very happy. But I'm not a barefoot person. Huh?
You're not.
No, I'm not a barefoot person. I've seen too many horses ruined it.
Well, and Jada's not mean at all.
No, there's a
either.
wonderful little Morgan
know?
Stallion at home.
yeah.
Who was a brilliant mover. He's
really
now,
good with horses.
he's done he's 15. He's done 12 years of combined driving. He goes intermediate now. Never had a shoe in his life. And I have offered to buy him a pair of shoes since the beginning of time. And he's going, oh, it's a big special race to get. And his gait's getting littler and choppier and littler and choppier. We had an event at the end of the season last year. My racetrack guy punched me and said, hey, look at that, babe.
I'm
There's a
embarrassed.
classic example of the annual cycle of bruising. Store from being barefoot.
So did they shoe the horse eventually?
Supposed to be
Yeah, he's never been
though,
shot.
or is it-
And his gaits are getting less and less and less. And he's doing less and less well. Now he's starting to quit on marathons. And he always has excuse. He sees a mayor or, his feet hurt. That's really too bad because it's a lovely horse. And one of the things he brags about him at stud is that he doesn't need shoes. Well, he does need shoes. He's getting ruined. And you can't compete at that level in our gravelly countryside. Careful, buddy. What are you doing with your head? There you go. Good boy. I imagine this carriage looked big on him once upon a time. You put up that Jagunda with her. You figure he's not going to be done changing till he's 10, so he's got a while to get bigger. There we go. Good boy. Nice rhythm.
Well, I'm happy because there's improvement. Yeah. It makes me feel like I made the right decision to send him a kit, to give Jada something to work
I
with.
think going to Kip was a good thing for him.
Yeah. And then, Jada restarted him.
Yeah.
And she's
And he's had two happy training experiences.
Yeah,
which
right, exactly.
hopefully, I mean, some of the fear will be there for a long time, but,
yeah, she started
but I think
him.
he's a very forgiving type.
Yeah, she started him right back from scratch
Yep.
when he came back.
So he finds out it's a different experience. Oh, good boy. He says, I can reach and I can pull, and I'm cool.
So yeah, something to think about is, I gotta figure out, or we have to figure out, do we use this carriage for all three events, or do you go to a two-wheel carriage?
Or a lighter four-wheel,
for-
like
for-
a New Heritage Farm Spider Light. They're lighter than these.
Yeah, I have I think it's what I would call a cob or small horse WCC presentation carriage.
That might work.
I don't know,
I think,
it might
I
be
mean,
heavier
I
though than a
competed literally at
Spider
World
Light.
Championships with two-wheel carriage. But I think the way course design is going, now like the guy Jada and I drive with in the winter, is a SEIO designer, he's as big as it gets. And the turns he puts into courses, you're really beginning to need four wheels. And, hi Lilo, how are you, honey?
I don't think I bought this used and I'm not sure of its weight. He's pulled it before though.
Yeah. Well,
I was thinking of,
the minimum FEI for a horse, my horse is a horse, he's 15 hands, is under 50 kilo, which is 332 pounds. This is is this cob or is this horse?
it's cob.
Cob. So it probably isn't 440, which is what horse
I think
is.
it's,
Horse coming from Europe is usually 440, 200 kilo. What make is this?
it's a Poishcon.
A Poisson, yeah.
Let me think here.
Did it come from New Heritage Farm?
No, it
No.
came from, Reinhardt's.
Oh, yeah,
Midwest.
yep.
Well, John Freiberger,
Freiberger.
basically.
It probably doesn't weigh 440 then. The horse size ones
I
do,
think it's like
but they're not.
411, I
Yeah,
think
that's
it
enough.
is.
I have, my ECC is a 200 kilo, so it's 440. When I switched to my Dartmoor, which weighs 332, I had a new horse.
Yeah.
But my horse is a little bitty, he's only 15 hands and he doesn't weigh 1,000 pounds. My other horse pulls it now, he doesn't weigh it. I think, for him to do dressage in cones, a presentation type vehicle and not a marathon vehicle will give you better scores.
Yeah.
And maybe be lighter.
I thought, if I pulled the dicky seat and put a basket on, it might buy us a couple pounds.
Yep. You can do that, and you don't need the dicky seat till advanced, or
Yeah.
until people like Martha Nickel get their way and we all have to start carrying
Yeah.
navigators. I run without my dicky seat with the basket.
And then-
And my carriage is black with red piping, which was beautiful, my black horse. It's irrelevant on my chestnut, but with the basket, which is exactly his color, the whole thing comes together.
And then the other thing is the shafts are really heavy
On this,
on it. It's
or on the ECC? On this one or on the ECC?
the WCC.
Yeah, WCC.
They're heavy metal,
Yeah.
and I thought if I could replace them,
You can get light stainless that's light, or even just a painted metal that's lighter.
yeah,
Because, that was probably built, it's a presentation.
yeah.
Why do it had such heavy shafts? Well, because
I
that
don't
bunch of
know.
Polacks don't know what to do otherwise. And my old ECC has very heavy shafts. And ECC was pre-WCC, it's the same
Yeah.
company.
Um,
It went from being
Or-
European Carriage Company to World Carriage Company.
yeah, it's the same thing, yeah.
Same family.
Yeah, I've got it, 411 pounds,
Mhm.
and that's probably without well, it might be with the shafts.
That's enough. I don't know what he weighs, but
But I don't have the weight on my WCC.
certainly he could start with this for dressage, because it's not like he's going advanced next week.
No.
Good boy.
He
What a
is, he's on
star.
a trip without me.